What do you see as the opportunities in terms of philanthropy in the developing world?
What's so exciting about the developing world is because you've got greenfields in many ways, you're seeing a real leapfrog of many of the technologies that we had to build incrementally in the developed world. So for instance, in Kenya and throughout East Africa, the cell phone is now a real tool for change. It's a real tool for innovation. And so we're seeing many new applications which connects to a great distribution system to reach small farmers with loans, with information, with better news as to what might work for them as farmers or not work for them. And figuring out how to make those enterprises work in the early stages usually takes a lot of philanthropy. It takes entrepreneurs with vision and courage, and it takes the financial backers with patience and with the understanding that investment alone is typically not going to help them succeed. So I see huge opportunities for finding innovation that can impact low-income people in the developing world, and then we can learn from it in the developed world as well.
Does your focus tend to be in Africa, or is it in Southeast Asia? Is it in other places? Where do you place the lion's share of your attention?
So Acumen Fund has invested about $80 million in 70 companies, primarily in South Asia and Africa, Pakistan, India, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Nigeria, and Ghana.
Where will the next generation of philanthropic leaders come from?
What's so thrilling to me, and particularly when you think about an institution like Credit Suisse, is they're going to come from everywhere. Not only geographically, and right now Acumen Fund's partners or givers come from over 22 countries, including the countries in which we operate in the developing world, but I think across classes, that you're seeing more and more young people of all classes who want to be part of contributing. And maybe the most illustrative, in a way, would be young men I know in the slums of Nairobi who read my book, The Blue Sweater, and their conclusion from reading it, because the tagline is bridging the gap between rich and poor in an interconnected world, is I want to be part of the solution. I want to be part of bridging that gap between rich and poor. And so these young men who grew up in the slums have taken it upon themselves not only to start reading clubs, but business playing competitions, and they've actually run 40 TEDx conferences across slums in Africa. I think that it's this kind of leadership that we can build on. And part of our job as those of us who have privilege, and another really important way of using our philanthropy in the developing world and the developed world, is to find local leaders across class, ethnicity, religion, caste, who are stepping forth as change makers, and link them, inspire them, support them to be part of the kind of change that our interconnected world really needs and wants to see.
How do you define innovation in regards to philanthropy? What does it mean to you? How do you define it?
So ironically, philanthropy should be our most risk-oriented capital. And tragically, it often is where people take the least amount of risk. They tend to go to places that are well known to them. They might be connected to relationship opportunities. And there's a piece of that that's very obviously necessary. But there's this whole opportunity for using philanthropy as risk capital to take bets on new innovations that are changing the way we tackle poverty altogether. I really believe that neither governments nor the markets alone are capable of solving our most fundamental issues, things that we've always thought were impossible, like educating all of our children or bringing clean water to everyone on the planet in ways that are sustainable, or enabling smallholder farmers to actually earn enough income to be more than sustainable. But the way that I think we're going to solve those problems is in a non-ideological way, not by relying on government nor by relying on the markets alone, but by supporting those innovators, those entrepreneurs who are daring to go into those places where markets have traditionally failed, as have governments, and see low-income people as agents who want to change their lives, use private capital, mostly a mix of philanthropy and some financial risk capital, to find solutions. And in so doing, show us where the market works and where it's limited, and then be able to present models for change to government so that we can actually tackle and crack the back of poverty in ways that historically weren't possible and are absolutely possible today. I've seen it in bringing clean drinking water to rural areas of India. I've seen it with emergency services in India. I've seen it in housing in Pakistan. I've seen it in alternative energy in India. I've seen it in agriculture across Africa. And it's the future. But we need smarter, more innovative, more risk-oriented capital that is willing to experiment and to fail, that has to be within the domain of philanthropy.